Alright, this is our AI project demo. You can see it's moving real slow right now. That's just so I could get some more time to talk. I'll speed it back up again in a sec, but I'm Jackson Pollard, and I worked with Kaylin Smith on this project. This is our multi-agent coordination project. So let's speed our agent up real quick. There we go, that's a reasonable speed. So you can see what's going on. So essentially the way our agent works is one of our agent is always a designated flag carrier. Essentially, it wastes resources to have multiple flag carriers because there's only one flag. They interfere with each other. And so we only ever let one thing do that. And what we do is we assign the rest of our agents to be resource gatherers in order to build as many bases as possible. You'll see why that's important in a sec. You can already tell how much higher our score is than the agent on the heuristic. So the way the resource gatherers work is their job is just ensure our resource total gets as high as possible. And the way we construct bases is we check if we are coming up on the radius of a flag, and once we enter a certain radius of the flag, if we have enough resources, we buy a base. And that way we ensure that our bases are evenly spread out, and B, they're in convenient locations near alcoves and stuff like that, so that our flag carrier is able to get progressively better and better as the round goes on. So when it starts out, it actually starts really slow, but it just gains faster and faster momentum as the game goes on, and gets more and more flags faster and faster because of the amount of bases that we build. And so we build all these bases in convenient locations spread out on the map. You can see how there's a lot of them by alcoves and stuff like that, and how that improves our score. So one thing you'll notice about our resource gatherers, well, first you'll notice that we have a lot of cores. So the reason we have a lot of cores is we have one resource gatherer that's actually a hybrid. It's called the core sweeper, and the core sweeper's goal is not only to get resources, but it swaps into core seeking instead of resource seeking if it senses one of our ships has died and left a core within a certain radius of it. And so it'll alter its destination and say, okay, I'm gonna go grab all of these cores, because sometimes our ships die, and that's a lot of resources lost, especially with the respawn timer. And so what we do is we have the core sweeper run out and grab all those cores to minimize the amount of resources we lose on deaths. And that helps our base building move a lot faster. So besides that, he's just a normal resource seeking agent. So then we have beacon seeking. So first off, you should never have the same thing seeking a beacon, because when you both seek a beacon, you interfere with each other because both of you need a beacon and only one of you can get it. So we never let them seek the same beacon. They always check what their partners are getting. But you'll notice that they are seeking the same asteroids. And the reason for this is a little bit odd, but essentially we noticed that we were getting lower scores when we only allowed one ship to seek an asteroid. And the reason is because of the layout of these obstacles, one ship might take forever or never be able to reach the asteroid the way it's drifting or the way its current position is relative to the overall obstacles. And because of this, it's actually more efficient, and you'll get your resources much faster if you send a bunch of agents to collectively try and grab the same resource, because odds on at least one of them will get it. Now, they'll interfere with each other a little bit, but they'll still score higher and average more resources over the course of the game if they both, or even three of them, seek the same resources as each other. And that's why you'll see them going for the same targets a lot of the time. It's essentially just coming at it from two sides and hoping something sticks, essentially. And it works well. It certainly helps us buy a lot of bases, and really buying a lot of bases is what's important to our agent. That's how we manage to get high scores. Typically we score 40 flags to 50 flags on a good run. It just depends on the run. You can see we're coming up on that number, and right now we just hit 40 at 18,000 time steps. And so that's pretty typical for us. And since, we're trying to maximize flags, that's a good metric. Sometimes we interfere with what the heuristic is doing, which we are cooperating with the heuristic, but sometimes you just take resources it needs, and there's really nothing you can do about that, because it just would hinder you even more to try and not do that, since there's such limited resources on the board. So you just hope that it gets a couple flags on its own, and maybe that bumps you a little bit. So like right now our score overall is 45. So basically, by dividing our agents into roles, flag seekers, core sweeper, and then our resource gatherers, we're able to create a pretty good team environment where everybody has a role and they all contribute towards the overall success. And our flag agent just gets better and better and just gains more and more traction as time goes on, because its time to bases just gets minimized and minimized more and more as the game goes on, and it means that all of our bases will be in convenient spots, and nobody's destroying bases in this scenario, so there's no reason not to build as many as possible, basically. We do have a cap on amount of ships because, you know, there's only so many that are useful and they start getting expensive, whereas bases are much more important in this mode. You can see the game ended. We ended up with a score of 48 with us plus the heuristic, or 44 if we were just counting us by ourselves, but that's pretty good, and that's right around where we were shooting for. So yeah, that's our agent. Hope you guys enjoyed the demo.